So today we officially shut down our seven-figure agency. And in this video, I'm just going to keep it straight. I'm not going to edit anything. I'm just going to give you the raw truth on the journey to seven figures and why we shut it down. And more importantly, like what the future holds for me and you guys as well, because naturally I appreciate you guys watching these videos, communicating and engaging. So first things first, I've been in the agency space, as a lot of you guys probably know if you've been watching my stuff, or was in the agency space for, we started in like the end of 2017. So going into 2018. So it's been a little bit, and beyond the journey, it's been amazing, right? I've been able to work with hundreds of local businesses and really almost any industry that you could possibly think of, I probably worked with and gotten some sort of results. So I love all the clients that we worked with, and it's been truly amazing. But going into last year, so starting 2021, I got to the point where my agency was completely automated, meaning like I was literally just doing 3 group calls, 3 team meetings a week. And it's probably about 20 minutes. So give or take, I was spending about an hour a week on my agency, and it was producing 7 figures. And what happened was, I think it was one of those things where growing up, I always had this goal of I have to hit 100K month, right? Like I have to hit it. Like that's going to be me being successful. Right. And I think it goes back to like, even when I first got started, it was the same thing. I was like, I have to hit 10K a month. I have to hit 50K a month. And it kept going up. Like that number always kept increasing. So there was like never any satisfaction or any celebrating towards actually achieving goals. It was just like, okay, cool. Well, that's not enough. Got to get to the next one. Got to get to the next one. And I think a lot of this had to do with just like a self-comparison mode. I hired a lot of mindset coaches to kind of help me progress throughout this and like make sure I make the best decision. And like the biggest thing I came up with was I was always in this like comparison mode online, which after talking to a lot of people, especially my own clients, like a lot of people can relate to this too. So if you are somebody that is, out there self-comparing and like just looking at social media, always saying like, man, like they're living their best life. They're crushing it. Like, I just got to get like that. That's the next level. That's the next level. I want you to really like take a step back and think about it, because for me, I never really understood why I wanted to have 100K months, but I just knew I did. And that was kind of it. I hit 100K months a couple of times consecutively and nothing changed, right? Like that was the icing on the cake for me. It was like, nothing changed. If anything, I was more miserable, right? Like hitting those months, like I thought everything was going to be perfect. Like life is going to be so much better. And to be honest with you, this is a lot worse. Like I had more overhead. I had more team members. I had less margin. My margin was getting decreased. And it just felt like something that I built into something that was amazing, that was spiraling downhill. And it was one of those things where the momentum up was amazing, like going from 10K to 50K to 80K to hitting that first 7-figure run rate, and then hitting 100K and actually hitting 7 figures, crossing $1 million in the business. It was really amazing, but it was also like the biggest lesson learned I've probably made and learned throughout my life, which is you don't have to hit a goal just because you see it online. Right. And like for me at the time, it was like I mentioned, it was like, I just have to hit the 100K because everybody that's successful is making 100K a month and more. And it was like, define success, right? Like that's ultimately what it came down for me, is like, define your own success. Like I did not need a 100K a month agency to be happy, is what I realized with, right? Like, because I was making, like I was, again, not even working really on this business. And like, that's what kind of freed me up to do more of my own stuff, which if you guys have been following me, you probably knew that I was doing agency coaching for a couple of years as well, because that was kind of like my passion of just helping other people. But I didn't realize at the time that both of those were like a brick wall hitting each other and bouncing back. And like, that's what kind of caused me to shut this down. I'll tell you how it happened in a second. But at the time I was running the agency, And majority of my time was just spent doing the coach, like coaching other agency owners, because that's what I really like to do. And I think with that, that was my program called High Ticket Freedom. I think we had 60 or 70 members in there. It wasn't anything that I was doing like full time. It was just like more of a side gig, helping people out. And just both those going together, it kind of just all hit me at the end of 2021. And it was like, I just went through this like burnout phase, right? Like at the end of the year, I'll never forget. It was actually 2 months going into it. It was like, I think it was probably like November-ish, going into 2000, like at the end of 2021, it just hit me. And I was like, I just want to be done. Like, I remember I just sat there one day and I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do anything else anymore. And don't get me wrong, like money was coming in. It was really good money as well, but I just wasn't fulfilled, to be honest with you. And that's kind of when I made the decision mentally that I was going to shut both of these down. And that's pretty much exactly what I did on like right after I got back on 2000 and going into 2022. Me and some friends went to Cabo, and I'll never forget, like, it was amazing being there with everybody, but also like that was mentally the hardest point I think I've been at in my life, other than even harder when I first started my business, because it was at times like I knew I was going to shut this stuff down. People would be asking me how business is going, how are you doing? And I remember just sitting there like lying to people, be like, oh, it's great, like everything's good. And then I remember just kind of like opening up to one of my friends. It was like, dude, like I'm just done. Like I can't do it anymore. And it was after that where it was like, okay, I'm coming back from this trip. I think I got back like January 4th or something, and just talked to my business partner in the agency and told him, it was like, hey man, like I'm done. Like I don't want to do this anymore. I'm shutting down my coaching, and I want out of the agency. So we agreed on a deal. Full transparency, I was taking 20% of the company, giving him 80% to run the show. And at the time I was like, okay, cool. You know, I want to make sure that this works. I don't want to like burn any bridges. I want like clients to be happy, employees still be good. But what ended up happening was a couple months after I left, we had fulfillment issues, right? Like our fulfillment for this, and this at the time we were focused mostly on solar, was at a top notch. Like we were the best in the industry. Like I really mean that, because we were doing something different than everybody else. And what happened was it was working really well for a solid like year or two. And then it slowly started going downhill. And then going into 2022, it just like kind of crashed. Like it just was terrible. It was, clients weren't happy. People weren't getting results like they used to. And at the time it was just, you know, I owned 20%. So it was like me exiting. I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm done. And we kind of just had the conversation. It was like, hey, we're shutting this down. Right. And that's where we went like, that's where we are now. Right. We shut down the agency. It's 100% shut down now. Like we don't take on new clients. You can't work with us. It's gone. And I also shut down my coaching program at the time too, because again, it was just like this burnout phase where I had to take time off. It literally took me about 4 months of just dabbling in a bunch of other things to figure out what I wanted to do, and kind of take some mental space too. And it was like, honestly, the hardest 4 months I think I've ever had as being in business, because it was like mentally, it was like, you know, I mean, I sacked up money, don't get me wrong. So I was like set with that, but it was also like, there comes a point in your life when you're not being productive, and you know you need to be productive, and you just can't get through that mental barrier to push through. It's very frustrating. And for me, it's like, I have the skill sets. I always like, I could go out there. I mean, I went out there and signed a couple of deals, just like have some consistent cash flow coming in, because, you know, always need cash flow coming in. But it was more of like figuring out what I wanted to do. And that's where my new program, and the thing that I've been 100% all in on, Authority Income Accelerator, became a thing. And that's where, to be honest with you, how it started was, to be real with you, just posted an Instagram story one day, and a lot of people were interested in what I was talking about. So I got some people on a call and said, hey, well, if I taught you how to do this, would you be interested? And they all said yes, at a reasonable price point too. So I was like, well, these are the type of clients I wanted to work with, because deep down inside me, I always wanted to work with like more of a broad audience of like coaches and consultants and like a lot of my friends, because I knew I had a lot to offer the marketplace that a lot of people didn't know how to do. Because I mean, after all, I've been doing lead generation for the past 5 years, spent millions on ads. I was like, a lot of my friends aren't doing this type of stuff. Like, I want to help them grow their business. And that's how Authority Income Accelerator came into play, is like, we started just teaching people the strategies that we're using. And like, the thing that's working the best is helping them install the same exact system that we have inside our business. So this isn't like a pitch or anything to tell you, hey, go join AIA. In fact, it's more of just like me opening up and like letting you know about my story and my burnout, because it's something where sometimes you got to go through the hardest points in your life to get to where you're supposed to be. That's honestly how I feel right now. Like, I've never felt this fulfilled in any business I've ran. And I honestly love it. And it's one of those things that I think, one of the things that I always told people when you're first getting started in business is don't go after your passions, because your passions will keep you poor. That's something that I remember hearing growing up, starting my business. That's something I remember telling even a lot of my clients. And I think that's a two-way street that you got to decide on where you want to go, because passions are what's going to motivate you. Like, looking back, I'm glad I went through everything, but because that's where I got today. And that's why I learned this stuff. And if I would have just started where I'm at right now, I would have never been able to do successfully what I'm doing and helping as many clients as I help now. But I think it's also like, you got to have a roadmap of where you wanted to go. And I think this is where I always wanted to go, is like, I wanted to build this skill set and then get where I'm at now. Because I can honestly say, and I really mean this, like, very, very few people can do what I do. And it's not just because of the tactical stuff, but it's because of the shit that I've been through, right? Like, the ups and downs. It's like losing $60,000 going negative in 1 month due to COVID and chargebacks and stuff, all the way to the point of spending over $1 million in ads to figure out this type of stuff that works. So I think my real message with this is, business isn't easy. It's not perfect. The ones that are successful are the ones that just stay committed and get 1% better every day, which I'm sure you've heard things like that. But it's also just like, it's okay to pivot. Like, if you're not happy in your business right now, and I've actually had this conversation with a couple of my clients that have been with me for a while, because they've been feeling with the same thing. And it's like, it's okay. Like, accept it, like, accept the emotion, but like, also understand, like, everything always works out the way it's supposed to, as long as you're working out, right? Like, so if you are at the point right now where you're not fulfilled, you're like, I don't know what to do, just keep exploring options is what I'm going to say. But the biggest lesson with all this is focus. I think a lot of this came to trying to do too many different things. I mean, at the time, and you're going to laugh, I was running the agency. I was running a coaching program. I was trading crypto pretty consistently. And I was getting into publishing a book, which will come out soon, by the way, because I'm not giving up on that. It's more of a side project, but focus. Like, right now, I'm 100% focused on this business, Authority Income Accelerator. And that's why within literally less than 3 months, we've been able to add 30 high ticket clients, all elite style professionals inside our business that we're coaching to scale. And that's what I want to help you guys out with too. So you're going to be seeing a lot more videos on here of me giving you the tactical advice and like showing you inside my business and just being real with you on what it's like to run a business, because it's not fucking easy. And it's definitely not like the shit that you see on Instagram where you see everyone just living their best life. I promise you, it's not like that. So really want to come on here and just say, thank you for watching this far. I really do appreciate you for being here, like supporting my journey. And that's why I want to get back and actually just post a lot of the content and stuff that I've learned and invested hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn, so you can hopefully implement some of this stuff too. So that being said, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd love to hear kind of in the comments down below if you've ever been able to relate to anything like this, or what your main takeaways were, or if you're just like, yo, Justin, like, dude, you should have just stayed focused from the beginning. Like, hey, I'm open to it. Like, I'm human. We make mistakes. And like, that's what I love about what we do, is like, we're not perfect. No one's perfect. Right. So I wanted to record this video and let you know more of these are going to be coming out, but more like actual actionable steps that you can be taken as well. So with that being said, excited to have you here and welcome inside my journey.